Welcome back to Frank's Model Aviation Workshop. This is episode 24 in the Top Flight 60 size P-40E Warhawk build. This episode we're going to be retrofitting Sierra Retracts into the P-40 wing. There's a little bit of finagling you got to do to get them to fit right. They're not like the Robart 615s that just slap right in. You got to do a little engineering. We'll get through this together. This is my first time putting retracts in any kind of aircraft, let alone a warbird. So if I can do it, you can do it. And we're going to do it together. And I'll show you what I do to get this fitted up with without modifying the wing too much. You don't want to take too much of them spars off. So we'll get in here and get this thing fitted up. And if you like this type of content, consider subscribing to my channel. Hit that notification bell so that you can be notified every time I upload a new installment of the build. And like and share my videos. I really appreciate it. And as always, I appreciate you tuning in. Let's get going. I just wanted to say, once I get my disc sander set up to get this bevel will be the same as this one. The angle will be the same. So all I gotta do is flip it over to do this one. So I'm going to go in there and get this bevel, check it. It might have to do a little more angle. I just want to take off just a little bit at a time, and we'll get that set up to where it's correct. So what I did was I stuck my carpenter square up in here, and as you can see, that's the bevel I need to get. So what I'm going to do, I'll scoot this over, draw my line along that edge, and the same with this side, only I'll have to do it on the other side. I'll take that bottom part, bevel it off. But to get this one to be easy, we'll just draw a line right there, and then I'll flip it over and continue that line along the edge. I'll get this angle on my disc sander, and we'll bevel that angle evenly across the way. So we'll get that going, and I'll be back. Okay, I'm going to be straight up honest with you guys and gals. I got started doing this first retract, and I totally botched it up. So I decided, well, I'm going to do one off camera, get it all mocked up, and then I'll show you what I did on the second one. But it wasn't looking good, but I got her fixed up. Everything's just the way it's supposed to be. It's perfectly 90 degrees to the table. So all I gotta do is show you how to do it on this one. And yeah, I felt bad I couldn't see it all from the get-go, but yeah, it wasn't looking good. So we'll get you in here and I'll show you what I did, and we'll do it on this one, on the right side. Okay, as you can see, I already got it already mocked up. And it's not glued in, but it is where it needs to be. I had to gouge a big hole in there to clear my air cylinder, but it's also matched up to the center line of the retract. I marked that on the retract itself. And I got my bevel that I needed to get. Got that all done. All I gotta do now is glue the rails in and remove the retract. But I'll do that after I show you how I did it on this one. I guess I could demonstrate the retract sits in there like that. These Sierra Retracts are really high quality. I really like the way they're made. They're really sturdy feeling. So, all right, we'll get going on this one, and hopefully by the end of this video we'll have retracts mocked up. Okay, so first things first, we got to get it to where this retract will set inside there. So the retract is 1 inch wide where it needs to be. So I'll take my ruler, my clear ruler, and we'll mark it 1 inch, which I'll show you what 1 inch looks like on it. So that's how much I got to shave off there. Do the same on this end, then we'll just connect the dots. All right. So that's basically how much I have to shave off. Oops. And you want to keep these rails oriented the way you're going to be putting them in there. So I'm just drawing a line connecting them dots or them dashes. Basically that much. So I'll shave them off, and then we have to create our bevel. So where when I set my sanding bar across, the tops of the rails will be level with the sanding bar. That tells me that when I stick this in there, it's not going to bind up. Okay, so now we'll test fit. Fits in between there nicely. Now we'll do the bevel. And I'll bring you around and I'll show you how much bevel. I believe I showed you on this one, but I'll show you again. You could probably see by just by that picture that it looks like they're stepped. And once you put that on there, you can see. That's how much I got to bevel these. So I'll bevel this top edge to bring it up like that. And I'll bevel this bottom corner to bring it down so that way they're level. And I'm not going to use the disc sander like I did on the other ones. I almost ruined my rails. I'm just going to do it with my perma-grit sanding bar, 80 grit, then 120. So I'll get you set up and we'll do that. Okay, so first things first, we'll do this one. So remember, I gotta angle this end like that. And I'll double check it. Close, but not quite. You just want to lightly do this. Let the sandpaper do the work. Check it again. Okay, I like that. So I'm gonna go ahead and tape that one back on because it's done. I'll give it a little bit of light sanding on this side. And this one, we got to bevel this bottom edge like that. I think I hit the nail right on the head on that one. Yep. All right, so we'll tape that on. Now that should fit right in there. Fits very good. So what we're going to do now is this has a little radius. You can see on either side it has a little radius. I'm going to sand a little radius on the rails just to match up with it. That way when it goes in, it'll sit nice and tight on the rail. I'll do the same on the other one too. You're probably like, well, what'd you tape it on there for? You're just gonna take the tape back off. I don't know, that's just what I did. So we'll sand a little radius in this one. Okay. Tape it back on. Now this next part is going to require a Dremel because we have to make room for that cylinder to go in. So I'll set you up for that. I'm only going to be able to do so much for you while I'm in this position because number one, I got to get in there to use the Dremel, but we're going to mark where we need to Dremel. So basically we're going to take this pencil and just mark around that edge of the cylinder. Roughly like that. And I'm basically going to just Dremel a hole there. And little by little, I'll keep replacing the retract in until I get my center line where it needs to be. So I'll get set up to do that. Okay, there's the right retract mocked up. $90 degrees to the table. And parallel with the other one. So that completes the mock-up. Now I'm going to do the pilot holes and screw this in, and then we'll get to epoxying the rails in. Okay, so what I do is I use this little centering tool, make sure my lines are marked up, and I think I want to collapse that. That way I know it sits nice in there. And I'll do one hole and then put a screw in, do another hole, put a screw in. These centering dealios are awesome. I use them for engine mounts, anything that I need to have a hole perfectly centered. All right. And these aren't the screws you gotta use, but I'm using them temporarily just to get this mocked up. All right, now we'll go to the next hole. I will be beefing up the rail joint on the inside of the pod just so that I have more wood there to screw into, because I'm going to get longer screws. Alright, let's keep on doing her. These two front screws are really close to the edge. I don't like that, but what are we gonna do? Excellent tool. I love that centering tool. Don't want to drop these, I'll lose them in the carpet. These are actually the screws for the flap hatches. That's fine. It's only temporary. Two more to go. Then we're ready to lift the retract out. But before I do, I want to check to make sure they're still aligned with one another. If not, I'll have to do like a shim thing or something. One more. Doesn't seem like it's all the way through yet. I bet it's down in that doubler. Alright, last screw. Right. let's put this back on. And let's break it. Let's see. What did you do with your, there it is. Still 90. And still parallel with the other one, so we're good. I'm gonna clean up shop real quick, and then we'll go ahead and glue these rails in. Don't look too bad. I'm happy with it. Maybe we'll put the wheels on, see what it looks like. That doesn't seem normal to me. I wonder if that's loose. It might be. Or maybe it just needs air. Okay. Okay, getting ready to epoxy these landing gear rails in. Mixed up some 30-minute epoxy. And here we go. When you're doing this, try not to get any glue on your nipple in there. Try not to glue your landing gear to the rail either. All right, there's one. Getting some paper towel to clean up the excess here. That's one side. Now we'll do this side. Hate using these brushes. You lose hairs and it for epoxying in the rails. Now we'll let that dry. Now we'll come back, take the gear off, and we will go inside and reinforce those areas. But that's it for now. Okay, I went ahead and removed the retracts from the rails after the 30-minute cure time. It's going to take 24 hours to cure fully, but I'm going to go ahead and flip the wing over, do a reinforcement bead along the inside there with some more epoxy, and I went ahead and, I don't know if you can see it from the camera, but I got holes in the back shear webs to allow my cylinder air line to go through. And I'm going to flip the wing over, put a fillet or a fillet of epoxy inside and reinforce those rails. And I think I'm going to call this the mock-up of the Sierra Retracts and a P-40 video. We'll call this a video because that was a long one. I don't know how long my video is going to be or how much I showed, but hopefully I showed everything that people would need to know to get these in there correctly. And we'll call that the retract mock-up video. Next video, we'll sheet the entire wing, possibly do the wing tips, get the tips carved out. I got my flaps done. The ailerons are done. They just need a little bit of fine-tuned sanding. I'll do that. Maybe next video. We'll see. So let's get this wing flipped over and we'll do the epoxy inside there, and we'll call this done. The retract mock-up. So I want to show you how I have this mocked up to do the fillet of glue in here. I got these weights that I have are perfect for getting this thing level. I just put one on each side of the wing. I mean, you could use anything really. And I just stuck this in there to get these blocks level to the table. And now I'll just, everywhere the joint is, I'll just put glue in there. Hopefully I don't clog up my my holes there. You can always drill them back out, I guess. But we'll go ahead and get that fillet of glue in there and in there, and we'll call her done. That's about as good as I can get you to show you what we're doing. I'm going to go ahead and mix the epoxy up. I'm going to use 30-minute epoxy, and I'm going to have to do that off camera while you're not seeing me, so that's what I'm doing in case you don't see what's going on. I'm just going to weigh out 5 grams of hardener, 5 grams of resin, and try to put it on there with just a wooden stick instead of a brush. I don't like them brushes. There's 5 grams of resin. They're at the point now I gotta store these things upside down. Alright. 5 grams of hardener. I'll just mix them up. What I'll do, I'll put a fillet of, or a fillet. I don't know, what do you guys call it? Fillet? Fillet? I don't know. But I'll put a fillet of glue. I'll try to avoid them screw holes. I don't know how I'm gonna avoid them. We'll see. Maybe I'll just go over and just, what if they'll, I know what I'll do. I'm gonna cut a piece of, some little pieces of tape. Cover them up. How I'm gonna get them in there, I got no idea. Yeah, that's a loser proposition there. What else can I do? Well, you know, it'd be good as a toothpick, maybe. Well, I ain't got time to waste here. Just all I'm basically doing is making a fillet or fillet, whatever. To kind of strengthen that joint. Concentrating more of it on the front side because I guess that would be the most highly stressed point that you know, that the gear would get ripped out. I keep hearing about the gear being ripped out of these warbirds, especially the ones with these 90-degree rotating retracts. We'll just continue on. Old Mike Bayana's got his pretty much ready to glass. He's really close to being done. Just final sanding and all that. One of these days I'll catch him. Maybe. Still enjoying the build. It's going together pretty good. I think what I might do I'll get a brush and just kind of paint up the sides a little bit, and that'll strengthen it a little bit more. Just about an inch or so. That'll just be like a big sheet of plastic. Already got glue coming out of there. So far it's not coming out of there. I think I'm gonna call that good. I'm just getting excess epoxy off the middle of those rails so it doesn't bind on the retracts. We had it get on one side. It's still not coming down through the holes, so that's a good sign. We'll let that dry, keep an eye on it, make sure that we get all the drips if there is any. I'm going to clean my hands off. I got epoxy on my fingers. I think I'm just going to go with that. I think that'll be good enough. This will conclude episode 24. We got our Sierra Retracts mocked up, rails are in, and epoxy reinforced on the inside. So we'll call this one complete, and next episode we'll start sheeting the wings up, running all the lines and strings or whatever to get our air lines in, and my servo extensions for the flaps. And hopefully we'll get to do the wing tips and everything on next episode. But sheeting that wing, one thing I don't have to do is join all the sheeting, because I did that in a previous episode. I got them all joined up, ready to get slapped on. So I don't know, if I use instant CA, we might be able to get it done really quick, but then I'll get my sheeting all crooked and stuff. But I don't know what kind of glue I'm going to use yet. Probably maybe some thick CA, because it takes a long time for it to actually grab, or at least 30 seconds anyway. So anyway, if you like this type of content, consider subscribing to my channel. Thanks for watching, and like and share my videos. Till next episode, we'll see you then.